More than 20% of children are now vegan or would like to be vegan, according to the BBC Good Food poll. Post-pandemic, this is another health time bomb that awaits us. And whilst a matter of choice for adults and those whose religion dictates it, to encourage, bully and brainwash kids into thinking they are destroying the planet by eating meat is profoundly wrong and will have potentially huge implications for their well-being, not just in childhood, but later in life. Researchers at University College London's Great Ormond Street Institute of Child Health found that children aged 5 to 10 who eat plant-based diets are, on average, 3 centimetres shorter than those who eat meat. 3 centimetres shorter. Their bones were also smaller and less strong, putting the children at risk of fractures or osteoporosis later in life. The study said parents must be aware of the risks of vegan diets. Now, whilst many claim that the vegan lifestyle is healthy, that's not a great selling point, is it? Smaller kids. Maybe it turns out children need animal protein from sources like eggs, cheese, milk, fish and meat to grow and develop properly. The authors of the UCL report also said vegan children should be given vitamin B12 and vitamin D supplements to reduce potentially long-term health consequences of going on a plant-based diet. They went on to say vegan kids are 3 times more likely to be deficient in vitamin B12 than omnivores. Not a great selling point, is it, that this dietary choice leaves people deprived of key vitamins and minerals for which supplementation is required. The diet is so good you've got to take pills to make it healthy for the body. And if these kids are smaller, what are the long-term implications for their bones, their brain health, their teeth and other key organs? There are plant-based proteins available, including pea protein, but these are widely accepted to be less bioavailable to the human body, essentially far less easily absorbed and utilised compared to animal protein. Look, I know tons of vegans and they love the diet, and I don't have a problem with that. But I think the solution here is to give kids a healthy mix of food, a balanced diet. And when they're old enough, they can then decide, they can make a choice for themselves. Failure to do that could leave them with a legacy of health issues not of their own making. As adults, we have a duty of care to children to give them everything that their mind, body and soul requires. If I was a vegan, and I'll be honest, that's never going to happen, I would still give my children meat because, in my view, that's the right thing to do. It's the same reason I make sure that my kids get more sleep than I do, that they don't drink alcohol, that they're given a clear moral code and that they are supported, loved and nurtured. It's particularly ironic that this research about vegan kids comes from the BBC, who got in hot water after launching a special edition of the Blue Peter badge called the Blue Peter Green Badge, which rewarded kids for going plant-based. Horrific that the state broadcaster should be brainwashing kids into giving up meat. The anti-meat part of the Green Blue Peter badge scheme was swiftly withdrawn after an unsurprising uproar. For years, all of us have been made to feel guilty about enjoying a balanced diet, which includes meat and fish. Mark my words, folks, slogans similar to those used during the pandemic, like "Save lives, don't eat meat," are now coming. And campaigners have parked their tanks on the lawn of our children as we speak. The brainwashing happens in advertising, within corporations, on TV and radio, and in the classroom. Going plant-based is the new woke. It's woke on your plate. And a lot of this is based on the debatable view that not eating meat will save the planet. How does that square with the vast monocrop agriculture which is required for the production of meat alternatives like corn, soya, rice and wheat, and the colossal amounts of fertiliser and pesticides that are required to grow those crops? Or what about the industrial output, the carbon footprints, and the packaging and air miles that come from meat-free, ultra-processed foods? That's before we get to the catastrophic health implications of many of these vegan meat alternatives, often loaded with sugar, salt, those fattening carbohydrates, and a million other obscure ingredients. Like this monstrosity, which went viral online earlier this week. Apparently, it's a sausage. Yuck. Now, how is that progress? What about dairy alternatives like almond milk? Well, in 2018, the Guardian newspaper reported on the environmental damage that almond plantations are doing in California and the water cost. Now, wait for this. You will not believe this figure. It takes over 6,000 litres of water to produce 1 litre of almond milk. This, according to the Sustainable Restaurant Association's Pete Hemingway. Not very sustainable, is it? Over 80% of the world's almonds are grown in California, which has been in severe drought for most of the decade. Hemingway describes a situation in which farmers are ripping up biodiverse citrus groves to feed rocketing demand for almonds, creating a monoculture fed by increasingly deep water wells that threaten the environment of the area. Well, oh dear. Now, I do agree that meat production elsewhere in the world is in some cases a horror show. And cows being fed soya and grains in hellish feedlots in North America and beyond is a disgrace. But food standards in this country are uniquely high, and the carbon footprint of our farming industry is a fraction of that elsewhere, with most of our lamb and beef production, for example, grass-fed, animals grazing on green land unviable for human use, eating grass inedible to humans, and watering and fertilizing the pasture as they go, and as they've been doing for millions of years. So responsibly raised local meat, fish and animal products is a win-win. It's a win for the economy, it's a win for farmers, it's a win for Britain, and it's a win for public health. Childhood obesity is through the roof. Do you really think that a bowl of vegan chili con carne or fake Frankenstein sausage following a court order preventing them from blockading the M25? They've simply taken their business down to the port of Dover, supergluing themselves to a fuel tanker. And doing their bit, of course, to add to the supply crisis currently engulfing the country. What these protesters don't realise, with clearly too much time on their hands, is that the public is receptive to the idea of doing their bit to help the planet. But we don't take kindly to disruption of the infrastructure of this country. Disruption to people's lives and livelihoods, and potential damage to lives or even loss of life from these activities. One accident last week linked to the M25 protests saw a 50-year-old woman airlifted to hospital, and another member of the public sat in an ambulance for hours on end due to the disruption, suffering a stroke. When you start impacting people's lives like this, and even when you've got blood on your hands, you're not an activist. You're a terrorist. By choosing one cause at any cost, including potentially the loss of life, you are akin to a terrorist organisation. And you cannot negotiate with terrorists, which is why their activities are so counterproductive. And the public have gone from sympathising with their message about looking after the planet, and they've started to hate it. This group have insulated themselves from human decency. They've insulated themselves from the cause for which they fight, and they've insulated themselves from common sense. It's time now for the government to insulate us from these misguided, mindless, and dangerous numpties. It's a funny old place, GB News. It's a news channel that's never out of the news. Last week, BBC Question Time spent a quarter of their show talking about us. We're in the papers daily, and we are subjected to regular barbed attacks from members of the mainstream media, including this week a highly personal attack from a well-known TV host at the Beeb and Channel 5 against one of our very best presenters, Crumbs. It's almost like we're a threat, like they want us to fail. Except that after celebrating 100 days on air this week, the opposite is the case. Stunning audience growth, more column inches in the press than you can shake a stick at, and 1 billion views online. And we haven't even started yet. We will be on national radio this side of Christmas, DAB+. Don't forget the app. And we haven't even advertised yet. because we don't have to, thanks to our pals in the media. With any new project, people come and people go. It's normal, it's natural, it's healthy. And in any startup, there are technical glitches. But we now have a fabulous product, a stellar lineup of on-air and backstage talent who are committed to the cause, who are signed up to the project, and who want to change the face of UK news broadcasting. We want to celebrate Britain here at GB News. We want to dare to love this country and embrace the many opportunities that Brexit will bring, as well as acknowledging the inevitable bumps in the road. We will call to account extreme political correctness, so-called woke culture, and seek to reframe the terms of discourse in this country so that you can actually say what you think without fear of judgment, social exclusion, or even the loss of your job. This place is an oasis of free speech and a haven of balanced and provocative debate. And the more they attack us from the outside, the stronger we get and the deeper our sense of purpose becomes. In the end, there's only one group to whom we are answerable, and that is you. We've had our remarkable success so far thanks to you, and our future lies in your hands. So tell your friends, spread the word, share the videos, download the app, watch us on YouTube, Freeview, Sky, Virgin, YouView or FreeSat, and let's change the world together. In the end, there's a reason for all of the attacks and the negative press attention. They are our rivals, and that's how it goes. Good luck to them. But I think there's something else more sinister at work. Patriotism, being anti-woke, supporting Brexit, not wanting Boris to fail, wanting a return to common sense politics, desiring free speech, challenging the COVID narrative on lockdowns and jabs for kids. These are all views that much of the media hate. They judge these views. They're ashamed of them. So they want this place to fail because they don't want you to have a voice. Well, on my watch and on this brand new television network, you will always have a voice, and it's only going to get louder. We've had 100 days. Here's to many, many more. This is GB News.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows, and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.